Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode here in NHL 21. So in last episode we had the trade deadline and we simulated the rest of the season, and yeah, our team basically fell off a cliff. So we did trade away Michael Wong to, I think it was the New York Rangers, just for a 7th round pick, and that was our only trade we made. But yeah, we missed the playoffs for the 3rd straight season, I think it is now. And yeah, hopefully we can start getting back to the playoffs again, because we don't really have a whole lot of time left with this. Like, I believe this franchise mode ends in 2044. So I think we might only have like 5 more season simulations. So we are running pretty low on time for that. But as you can see, we finished 35, 40, and 7, which had us quite far out of the playoffs because our division was very tight, and the Eastern Conference in general was a very tight race. As you can see, everybody in the Eastern Conference had over 100 points except for the New York Rangers, so there was like really no chance for us to actually get into the playoffs at all. But anyways, we do have the 11th overall pick in this year's draft, I think it was, so we should be able to get at least like another top 4 defenseman or something like that for our like build for our future. I don't know if the player is actually gonna end up making it into this franchise mode because of the amount of time we have left, but hopefully they do, and hopefully they are closer to being NHL ready than they are not. So anyways, we do have one comment before we get into the draft, and that is from HawksFan88. He says, I think you should try and move up to the 5th pick and get Komachi. If you can't get a deal to go through, though, you should go with Lilia as with your first pick. So I agree with that, but what I was telling him actually is I don't think we are going to be able to move up because a lot of our players don't have the most trade value, and I feel like the AI is going to ask for too much from us, and then that's going to kind of hurt us in terms of actually trying to make the playoffs and whatnot. So I don't think we're going to be able to actually try and move up to get this sniper, even though he does look like he's going to be a pretty good player. I don't think we can move up to 5th, unfortunately. But since we have 11th, he was saying that we should go with Lilia. So he's saying to go with this guy just because he's got the NHL ready standard, which is good because we definitely need guys that could just hop into our lineup, like I said. The only thing with bringing in Lilia is that means a veteran like Wall might end up being a depth defenseman for us next year, but we got to end up doing something like that anyways. The younger guys have to eventually take over, and we only have, like I said, like 5 years left. We want the NHL ready guys, so this is more than likely who we're going to be taking with our pick, just because we need an NHL ready player. So but there was actually other NHL ready defensemen, I think, around that part, wasn't there? Yeah, there was. But we are going to go with Lilia because he's the left-handed. I think we have a decent amount of right-handers already, so that must be why Hawks fans said to go with Lilia out of the ones. I don't know. Maybe also because he's a two-way defenseman and we don't have any two-ways, I'm pretty sure. So that could be why. But anyways, let's get into this draft, and we got the Resign stage, which I don't think we have any huge contracts to dish out, but who knows. We actually might have some because we got guys that are like that I thought would retire, like Wall up for renewal and whatnot. So okay, so Chicago's got 1st, in Carolina, Edmonton, Toronto, Buffalo. We are all the way here at 11th. Let's see what happens. So Chicago at number 1 is going to take Bowmeister's an 84 sniper. Damn, that's a really high overall. This reminds me of that draft where we got Dika in to an extent where there was an 84 that went 1st overall. But this guy's not a franchise level player, but he probably will turn into one because he's got 93 shooting across the board already, which is kind of ridiculous. And then at number 2, Cruz goes to Carolina. So actually that dropped off a cliff in terms of overall rating, but that's okay. Carolina taking it a good 4th liner for now. Might be a really good penalty killer. Edmonton at number 3 is going to take Jenks, who's an 82 sniper, so that's actually a pretty good one. Don't know why Carolina passed up on him. I guess they must have figured that they needed more of a center than a winger, so I think that's probably why they went with him, even though this guy can take faceoffs as well. Number 4, the Toronto Maple Leafs are going to select Komachi. So Komachi actually jumped from 5 to 4, which is interesting. He's a 79 sniper. He does have really good shooting already, 90 across the board, so that's the guy that we could have traded up to get, but I don't think we would have been able to anyways, because like we don't really have, like, if I even go to, let's go find trade, I just want to see how much trade value our players have. Like, I'm not parting with Dika, Samson, Dingman, and then pretty much everybody else. It does not have as much value as you would think, so yeah, we don't really have the value to be trading away players for like early 1st rounders, I don't think. And in Buffalo at number 5 is going to take Kozlov, who's a defensive defenseman, 79 overall. It's pretty good. That will definitely help out Buffalo defensively. Let's change to our 11th overall pick now, where we should be able to get that defenseman. Yep, we can get Lilia, which is good. Lilia, two-way defenseman. Yeah, looks pretty good offensively and stuff like that, which is something we don't really have considering Wall's dropping off a lot. This guy's just not as great defensively as he is offensively, but we're going to take him for sure. So welcome to the Detroit Red Wings. Lilia, we'll say the son of Anders Lilia, actually might be the grandson of Anders Lilia at this stage. He's only a top 4 defenseman, unfortunately. So he's not medium elite, but he is a 79 overall, so he's going to crack our lineup right away. Which means I think that pushes somebody like Wall as a depth defenseman almost. Maybe even Stewart if Stewart's morale isn't working. Maybe Stewart ends up leaving. I don't know. But that makes our defensive core into an interesting situation. I don't like that he's a top 4, but I will take that high overall because at least he jumps into our lineup right away. And then there was a couple other defensemen that were NHL ready. Let's just take a look at them. Scoville goes to Arizona. 75 top 4 for Good Branson. Because that guy wasn't NHL ready. And Kolnick was a 76. So we actually got the best of the bunch. Liking that. Let's move to our next pick in the 2nd round. I think we have a pick in every round except for the 7th round, so it's not too bad. Jimmy Nickerson, 20-year-old though. I don't know if I really want to take a 20-year-old in the 2nd round. Apparently the scouts recommend him. He does have some good shooting and stuff like that, but since he's already 20, I feel like this guy is probably not even that good of an overall of a player. Well, actually, he might be a good overall, but not a good potential. Theo Beagle looks kind of intriguing. I might go with Theo V. Beagle because maybe he could be a good sender for us on like the 4th line. Actually, you know what? We're going to go, I think, with Kimo Nurmi. He's got good shooting, good puck skills. His senses are average, same with skating. And then his physical is pretty solid. His defense isn't. So he's probably a power forward. Yeah, it looks like a power forward. Yeah, I'm going to give it to Kimo Nurmi because we don't really have a lot of power forwards already in our lineup. So top 964 overall. Damn, I was hoping that would be a top 6, but looks like this draft class isn't as strong as I thought. So they're wanting our 3rd for 2 4th rounders. No, thank you. I don't feel like I want to do that. That's the first time I've got offered a trade to actually move back because that doesn't happen that often. Braxton Sasaki, 4 years away, might be a little late because of the odd years. Nicholas Hunter, 4 years as well. Then there's Victor Ovechkin. Keith Weston looks actually not terrible. Keith Weston might be decent. He looks like an offensive defenseman apparently too. You know, we're going to take Keith Weston. Why not get another defenseman? Top 60, 62 overall. That's not too bad. Especially considering he's only 18. Do I think he's going to reach that potential? Probably not, but you never know. We got a couple more picks left. We could go with Vyacheslav Kalinin. This guy's only 17. Might be a low elite player, but I don't really know. Yeah, I might end up taking Kalinin, but let's take a look at these other dudes. Colby Curry looks interesting, but he's 20 already, so he's probably like a low top 9. And he's probably got a decent starting overall. Pat Reese. Oberg. Okay, I think I'm going to go with that first guy just in case he's a low elite. The scout recommends us it anyways, so might as well take a chance on him. If he's not that good, then it's not the end of the world, but we'll take him anyways. Welcome aboard, Vyacheslav Kalinin. He's a low top 9 sniper. I mean, I've seen low top 9s develop well, but I don't know if this guy's going to be anything huge. He might be a decent player in the AHL, so at least that's something. So to our 5th round pick, and we're getting offered another trade to try and move back, but we're not going to do that because I do not want to move back in this draft at all. We need to add all the prospects we could have. Hekana, don't know anything about you. Harrison Sierra, don't know anything about you either. Emily goalie maybe, and Rokan. We should probably draft another goalie prospect, I think, actually. We've been drafting a couple, I think, as of recent. I could take a chance with this 19-year-old, but I don't think he's going to be that great. Or we could go with somebody like Javon Hayward, who doesn't look great, to be honest. Low top 9. I'm going to sort by potential just to see if there's any low elites, but yeah, this draft did drop off a lot in terms of, like, ever since the 2nd round, it's dropped off a lot in quality. Like, the 1st round was decent. That guy looks okay. but that guy's supposed to go next round, so we might go with Jude Dundas next round, if I remember about him, which I don't even have a 7th rounder, so I might not be able to get him. Yeah, alright, let's just take this low top 9. It's better than nothing. 59 overall is not great overall to start, but whatever. And now if we could take Jude Dundas, I will, just because we don't have that 7th rounder, because I almost forgot that we actually traded it away to the New York Rangers, like I was mentioning, for Wong. And just because they get rid of some cap space, and also Wong was not really that happy here, so... Okay, yeah, we're going to take Jude Dundas. Welcome aboard, and he is a low lead 49 overall, I figured. That's actually pretty good offensive defenseman as well, so if this guy develops well, then we have maybe a guy that could crack into our lineup maybe one of the last years of this franchise mode. Like, it's going to take a while for him to develop, but then again, he could jump up really good, so I don't know. Okay, let's into our next pick. We actually have a 7th rounder. Did we have 2 7th rounders? Because I thought I traded away my 7th. Oh no, I acquired a 7th. That's what I'm thinking. I acquired a 7th for Wong. I was like, I don't know. I just woke up recently, so that's probably why I didn't think about that being like that, but whatever. Tommy Caglio, that's an actual player that played in Sweden. That's kind of funny. John Valesky. I honestly have no idea who to go with. I'll just go with somebody that my scout recommends, so... Do I know anything about any of these guys, though? I know the most about Giroux. Giroux's 19, though, is the only thing. I'll go with the youngest guy there, so Keegan Ennis. Welcome. 7th D. A low 7th D of all things as well. They're offering us a player for our 7th rounder. Wow, that's the first time I've seen that. This guy's contract, though, will need to be re-signed. So, I mean, maybe that's worth it, though, to an extent, because maybe we can re-sign this dude. But maybe this guy would just walk for a 7th rounder. I mean, he's not a bad player. Maybe they think they just can't afford him. But this guy doesn't really fit our scheme that well. He fits our penalty kill. But he's not a bad player by any means. For, like, a 7th round pick. This guy also was with the Rangers, who've been really good the last little while. Yeah, he's won a cup with the Rangers, it looks like. You know what? I think I'm going to actually accept this deal. Trade the Rangers 7th round pick for a guy that was originally playing with the Rangers. Well, not originally, but still played with the Rangers to Carolina. I think I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to try and re-sign this guy because maybe he's a decent enough player to have on our 3rd line. Maybe we don't really need somebody like that, but I'm going to still take this deal because getting a free player potentially for a 7th round pick, I'll take it. As long as they didn't draft somebody super good with that 7th rounder, which I don't think they would have. Let's actually go to the 7th round. So Carolina's pick, they took Valesky, whoever that is, with that pick. Interesting to get an actual roster player for a 7th rounder that is an 82 overall. We do got to re-sign our head coach, which I'm kind of skeptical about because our head coach hasn't really done the best job yet. But we are not as good of a team. 54% scheme fit. You know what? I think I'm going to let our head coach walk. And we're going to try and find a new coach because we need to get this team better for this upcoming season. So, yeah, I think I'm not going to offer the coach a contract. And then we need to get back some scouts. But yeah, I think we definitely need a new head coach because maybe that scheme fit is the reason why we keep missing the playoffs as of lately. And we need to make the playoffs as soon as possible, which hopefully means like this upcoming season or the season afterwards, because we should be getting some good growth from some of our younger guys like Dika and Samson, I would assume. Okay, so there's all the scouts offered contracts too. Now we got the players, which are the more important things. We got 66 million in cap, which is pretty good. RFA wise, Gove. That's a little bit of a high asking price for 79. I should be able to get these guys back pretty cheap, so I'm just going to give them what they want. Visnovsky wants a one-way deal as well because he was playing in the NHL. Yeah, I could give you 16. 1.6 is fine. We should be able to get most of these other guys though on two-way deals. And there we go. Gove though, 2.1 is a little bit high. I'll try and get him for like 1.8. Try and talk him down a little bit. And then Stevenson, we're going to have to give him a long-term deal because I want him till the end of this franchise mode, kind of. I could give him a 5-year deal, which would take us to right near the end of the franchise mode. So I think I'm going to do that. And I'll offer him 5 years at 6.5. Because I think that's actually not a terrible deal for somebody like him. So we'll do that. See if he's willing to accept. And then unsigned wise, we got to sign our first round pick in Lilia. And then I think everybody else is going to be unsigned from now. Yep, everybody else is going to be unsigned. Then we go to our UFAs, which is where we have a lot of our players. Brewer needs an ELC. That's another top 4 defensive prospect, which means we're going to have to probably let go of, I think, I'm going to let go of Barry. I might use Orr as a depth defenseman in the NHL, or actually, Orr's only 25. His attributes aren't terrible. Does he want a one-way deal? Yeah, he does. Maybe I'll give him a contract. Let me just go to the top of this list and go to the more important players. So Biggs needs a contract for sure. Wow, he wants $13 million. I'm going to try and get him on a 1-year deal again because maybe his asking price will come back down. But maybe it won't. 3 years at 13 isn't terrible because I think we're paying Matthews like 14. So you know what? I think I will give him 3 years at like 13.5 if he's willing to accept that. Because he does want to actually come back. So I mean, we have a lot of cap space. We could probably get everybody back if we want to. Phil Powell needs a contract. 1 year at $7 million. I could definitely do that. That's not a bad offer. Stewart's jumped back up in overall, which is good. He wants 3 years. It's a little bit skeptical because he might drop off. I'm going to give him a 1-year deal and give him like 8.3. But yeah, I should be able to afford mostly everybody on this roster. I'm going to let go of Nguyen, I think, though, for sure, because of the amount of... just because he's not been as good. And we could find probably a better backup, I would assume, in the offseason. Rodrigo Stoll wants $3 million, so he wants to actually play on a roster and not be a depth player. So I might have to let him walk, but he has some pretty good attributes. But I think we're going to replace him with that guy we just traded for. Yeah, we're going to upgrade Stoll from Stoll to Barker. And we're going to give Barker a contract. He's 28 only as well, so it's a pretty good... I think it was a good trade, though, to trade a 7th rounder for an actual 82 overall player. Like, it almost seemed too good to be true. Wall doesn't want too much, so we'll give him what he wants, see if he's going to accept that. And then, like I said, I think Orr could be a decent depth defenseman, so we'll try and give him money. I'm going to wait on Cyrus Henderson still a little bit, and Sonnenberg, who we brought in both last offseason. And as I was saying, Francis Nguyen, even though he's been with us a lot of his career, like he came back from Arizona, I think we have to let him walk, unfortunately, because he's going to drop off a lot being 35. And we will find a new backup again. So best of luck in retirement probably soon. He's probably just going to end up being like a backup for 1 year and then, or in the AHL for 1 year and then retiring. But best of luck, Francis Nguyen. Good player for sure. I guess we will let go of Turkov in the AHL because he's the oldest of the two. And we will try and bring in this Mark Ward dude. And I'll also try and bring back Allen. See if they're willing to accept that. And I think that's pretty much it for contracts. Yep, that's pretty much it. So now we just need to advance a day and see if we get all those guys back. But I think with the new coach, maybe that will also help with our locker room chemistry a little bit. At least I'm hoping. Looks like Biggs rejected and a couple other players rejected. So yeah, Biggs and Barker, Stewart, and Wall all rejected. So we need to still offer those guys contracts. We still got $53 million. And we still need to get Gove back, but we did get Stevenson back, which is really nice. I think that was a pretty good deal. $2 million, Gove, what do you think about that? I will probably end up just qualifying him if he keeps on rejecting now. So Wall, 1 year, we'll give you 6.8. I'll give him a decent amount more than he wants because we have the cap space. And we should be able to pick up a decent player in free agency. And I'm thinking that Savonin might hit free agency again for Montreal because Montreal was right up against the cap. So if that's the case, that would be pretty nice. So I think, yeah, I'll give you a 1 year deal again, Stuart. And I will give you around rent you were making last year. Might be a little bit of an overpay, but I don't really care. I just need to get those guys back because they deserve to retire with this squad regardless if we make the playoffs, right? Barker, get you back because we just traded a 7th rounder for you. And then Biggs, yeah, 3 years. Would you accept 14? Because we want you to retire with this club as well if possible. Let's go through this. Yep, Biggs is accepted, and I think everybody did accept. Yep, so we're just down to these two. We only have 21 million now in cap space, so those guys took a lot of our cap. But what does Henderson want? 6 mil. That's not terrible. He has dropped off a lot, though. He's 35. We could always replace him with Savonin if Savonin is in free agency. So I think for now, I'm going to let go of Cyrus Henderson, just because I think we could replace him. And in Sonnenberg, I still like him because he was a decent fit for like our 3rd line. He's not a great player, really. 23 points this year. His plus minus in his career is never really that great, so but he does fit our scheme fit a little bit. We do need probably a grinder. I don't know. I might try and give him a contract and see if he accepts it. He wants 3 mil though. You know what? We're gonna let him go as well, just because I want to see what's available again in this off season. So there we go on that front. I think that's good. Yep. So now what do we got for our roster going into free agency? So Matthews dropped down to an 81, which I don't know why. Hopefully it goes back up. It's probably morale issues again. Yeah, it's morale issues, I think. But once we sign some big name players, hopefully that boosts him up a little bit. But we got Pal, Belanger, Matthews, and Hobbs. And then Blum could be technically depth. Schumacher's also good enough to be depth. Vishnovsky's probably our depth forward. Maybe the guy that could crack our 4th line. Then we also have Dika for left wingers, which is not a whole lot. Right wing wise, though, we have a lot of players. We have Dingman, Garrison, Barker. Yeah, Barker, De Kaiser, Alexandrov, Seal Fido even, and Gove. So we got 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. We technically don't need another roster player, but I'm probably going to sign a couple. And we definitely need a backup for Stevenson. And then defensively, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7. So I don't know who's going to come out of the lineup for Lilia, but we might have to try and make something to get rid of. We have a lot of right-hander defensemen. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to re-sign Biggs. I don't know. To me, it looks like Stewart's the odd man out, but I don't want to really trade him away is the only problem. But somebody's going to have to be on the odd man out on that defensive core, I would assume. Yeah, so we need a backup goalie, and we need maybe some extra forwards. I don't really know. But like I said, I think we do definitely want to go after Savonin if he's a free agent. And obviously we are going to be looking for a new head coach, which should be interesting to find one that better suits our team, because I feel like that coach was kind of letting us down a little bit. So we're going to take a look at what coaches are available first before we go into free agency, just to see what's available there. But in terms of head coaches that could actually work for us, let's find somebody that's actually affordable, which means probably somewhere around here. 48% is not good. I was getting like 60 plus scheme fits in my Atlanta series, so Reese Corvo might be the best option. He's only 46, 60% team fit right now. And that's with a pretty small roster, so. Anze Kopitar, damn, but he's associate coach. I don't know if I would want Kopitar as a coach. I mean, we could try and offer him a coaching job as an assistant coach, but yeah, there's not really actually a lot of good coaches out there. I think if I was going to go for a coach, though, it would be was it this dude? No, it wasn't that dude. Oh, there was a 60. No, it wasn't Kopitar. It was, there he is, Reese Corvo. So I think we would go with probably Reese Corvo. You know, I'm already going to offer a contract to him. I was going to let you guys probably decide, but I think it makes sense to go for Reese Corvo. And we're going to go as our head coach. I think he best fits for us. And I think I'm going to offer a contract also to Anze Kopitar as our assistant coach. Because why not? Both these guys are really cheap. So we'll see if those guys can come in, because if they can, they will probably help out our team a decent amount. So there you go on the coaching front. We're not going to do any free agent signings in this episode because I'll let that be up to you guys. But let's take a look at what's available out there. Hopefully Savonen's available, even if he is dropping off, because he didn't retire. And I don't think I see him there, unfortunately. Oh no, he is there. Let's go. Savonen's back again. No teams are interested in him. We might be able to get Kari Savonen. I think I should actually already offer him a contract, to be honest. Because last year he had a really good season in Montreal. I forgot to show you guys in the last episode, but he had 92 points in 82 games, and in the playoffs he had 13 and 15. So, yeah, I think Savonen's a no-brainer for signings. He would take up a lot of our cap space that we have left, but we don't really need much else other than him potentially. So, let's go to UFAs first, though, so I can show you what's available for each position. So I don't really know if we need anything else, but center-wise, here's who's available. A couple of good centers, and then the rest are kind of not as good, but there you go on that in front. The left winger-wise, like I said, Savonen I think is an obvious signing here. I'm surprised no teams are interested in him. Our former player, though, Amir De Kaiser, is also heading into free agency after playing 2 seasons in Winnipeg. Looks like his production dropped off a lot, but he was point per game in the playoffs, so that's interesting. We don't need to bring him back, though. There's also Yui, so there's some good left wingers, actually. But yeah, I think we're going to upgrade from Henderson all the way to bringing in Savonen. No question about that. We could also try and bring in Ola Olsen, but I don't know. Ola Olsen's a really good player. Not Jonathan Nash. Why did it go to Jonathan Nash? Ola Olsen's a really good player. Like, this guy was, I think, a healthy scratch for Nashville, last season, which is dumb because this guy's over point per game in his career. Like, his most recent season, though, he only had 53 points, so he was below point per game, but he's had an incredible career. He wouldn't be a bad player to bring in, but he does want, he wants 6.4. That's not terrible. We probably could sign both of them if we wanted to, but I don't know if we really need Ola Olsen, but I do think we need somebody like Savonen who could definitely score goals for us. Right winger-wise, there's some good right wingers to an extent, well, a couple of good ones. Mostly everybody else is pretty bad. Couple former players like Dylan Nolan's back there. And defensively, not that we need a defenseman, but there's the defenseman, a couple of really good ones as well there. Oh, Thomas Larson's headed back to free agency as well. He's been a journeyman since he left us, it seems like. Sean Bertuzzi as well, another former defender of ours. Same with Conboy for like 1 season, I think. Let's take a look at goalies available, because we do need a backup goaltender. This is, I don't know who we would sign as their backup. We could sign this Latipov guy. He only wants 1.875 for an 83. I think that's a pretty good deal. Has this guy ever played in the NHL? Yeah, he has. Okay. What's his career numbers? 44, 41, and 8. It looks like he was a starter last year for Edmonton. That guy might not be a bad option as a backup, because he's got a really high overall. There's also like Dolak. There's Turnstrom, who's a high starter. This guy was in New York. He was in New York quite a few years ago. Never actually played with them. But in the short span that he played with Florida this last year, he was really good. But he was mostly in the AHL. I think this guy would be a good option as a backup too. So we do definitely have some options to upgrade our backup situation behind Stevenson, which should help us out in terms of actually playing good. So there's also Max Bayer there again, who we had a few years ago again. Now we drafted originally. And that's pretty much that. Now we can take a look at the trading block just to see if there's anything that we want to trade for. Not that I think we are going to, because we don't really have the assets or anything I really want to move out. But if you guys see anything you want me to trade for, let me know. Because like I said, there could be players that we might have to move out. Because like, for example, Stewart on our defensive core. He might be the odd man out. There's somebody that has to be the odd man out, because I feel like we have to play our younger guy Lilia this year. So I don't know who is going to get moved away out of that defensive core, because like a lot of guys are going to start to drop off in overall. Hey, look, it's Stefan Lacerte in Carolina. Good to see him still playing. He was in San Jose for quite a while. There's our former defenseman Ville Savonen as well. Wonder when all these guys are going to start to retire, because we are getting closer to the end. Not seeing a whole lot of interesting players. There's a medium elite goalie. that's unsigned currently that's on the trading block, but we're not going to be trading for no medium elite goalie when we got Stevenson. Burke, 4 years left. That's an expensive contract, but that's a power forward, which is pretty intriguing, but he does actually fit our top line, but I'm not going to trade for somebody with that type of cap hit, I don't think. Got really good shooting. Because like I said, I think we're just going to sign Savonin for free agent signings and then sign a backup goalie. And I think that's pretty much all we need to sign because we got a lot of depth. But I think we might be making it back to the playoffs soon if we get Savonin. Considering Savonin has no other teams interested in him, I think we should be able to get him. I really hope we can. Because last year Montreal took him away from us, and I thought that he was going to end up retiring this year, but it seems like he wants to keep around, which is good because he's actually getting really close to being the best all-time goal scorer. Like, I think he's now 4th or 5th, I think, on the top 5 when I last checked. I'll probably also check that quickly for you guys. Because, like, eventually we'll have to go through all the roster, or not the roster book, record book and stuff like that, because we haven't done that, like, fully. So in Vegas, some more prospects. Washington, some more prospects. And Winnipeg, the same type of thing. So not really a whole lot of interesting stuff on the block from what I saw, but you guys might have saw something. So let me know down below about that. Let's take a look at, what was I going to take a look at again that I just mentioned? Man, I'm like half asleep. Woke up after 12 today for some reason. What was I going to take a look at? Oh yes, the record book. That's what I was going to go to. Because I was going to go to the entire NHL records. And as you can see here, Kari Savonin has the 4th most 50-goal seasons with 7. Only behind Gretzky, Bossy, and Ovechkin, who had 11. And then as you can see also, in terms of most goals all time, he is 5th. He's probably, he will pass Gordie Howe this season for sure. He might end up passing Nathan McKinnon this season as well if he could have like 50 goals. But he might end up finishing around 4th or 3rd if he doesn't retire this upcoming season. But we definitely need to bring that guy in because he's a really good consistent goal scorer. And that's something we don't really have. So that's something that could definitely boost our offense and help us get to the playoffs, I think. So anyways, guys, I think that's it for this episode of our Detroit Red Wings franchise mode. So next episode, we will sign some free agents and we will get started with the season simulation. And I think this team should be better next year. And I really hope that this morale could improve a little bit because right now it's at 52%. So I think it has been improving a little bit since last year. But let me know what you guys think down below. And I'll see you guys next time.